rhetorically, your movement from bad news to good news, which, as you've learned in preaching, I'm sure, bad news to good news, it was so natural. Because in some ways, you preached half the sermon of bad news, and we lived it with you. We saw it. We saw Murfreesboro Road. We saw teenagers on the street. We saw human trafficking. You brought us to the valley with dry bones. And you didn't leave it back with exile, which you explained extremely well. But your move was about as sudden and beautiful as the text of Ezekiel. There was resurrection. What you did so naturally, it wasn't pushed, in moving us to John 20, was impeccable. I wish I could do it. It was Easter. And your tie into, they were locked behind the doors, they were in dry bones. And what's beautiful is you made me think for the first time ever in that text, Jesus wasn't the only one resurrected. When he visits the disciples in John 20, so, see, I'm going to go build me a sermon on it. The word inspired for you. When Jesus breathed, the resurrected Jesus breathed resurrected life on the disciples were resurrected. That was beautiful.
Your question that your friend asked you about walking into a church and saying, are you willing to do something about this? I think that sums up everything you just said, in that, are we willing to do something about this or just remain dry? You pulled us in so well, and you were so passionate. I use my hands when I talk, and so I love seeing you. You're instantly, you stepped into that story and you pulled us in with you. So I just love them. Thank you.
So one question. Well, actually two questions. How many times have you preached?
I'm not sure. Started a while ago, but yeah.
So like 2 or 3 or like
No.
10 or 20?
Probably over 20, yeah.
Over 20? Okay. Well, it's obvious.
Yeah.
How many times did you read your manuscript?
I
'Cause I think you looked at it like 4 times.
I practiced it maybe a dozen times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that like, I don't do that, and I envy you. That is such dedication that you honor, and that's. Hey, I read manuscript, so I'm not saying that nobody else does, but it is such an honor, and you like I can tell how intensely you hold the gift and the act of preaching. That I mean, you didn't need a manuscript. You checked to make sure that you weren't skipping something, but not because you got lost. And well, actually, you did get lost in the art of preaching. You were totally wrapped up in the story, which wraps us up into the story. My favorite kind of music is feels music. Like I like feeling, and I mean, there were times I was clenching my teeth and like I'm not about to cry in here. I told myself that because you went so deep into real hurt and pain, to the driest of bones, that the marrow was dried up, and even through your answer to the dry bones, it was never that human decision just decided, this isn't right. Every single time when you talked about the answer, it was God breathing life into humans. And resurrection doesn't come because are we willing to do something? Resurrection comes because God fills us with His. I so loved the image when you said that they came clacking back together to resemble the image that it was initially created in, but it still didn't have breath, and that's what gave it motion. I know that's what the text says, but you using the image of God for this lifeless, put back together human, but it wasn't doing what God created it to do until He gave it breath, and you told that story the whole time. So masterful job, Holden. You did so well in your theology and your delivery. So great job.
Thank you.
You're a great preacher.
Thank you.
I can't add a whole lot, but I'll try. That was a prophetic message.
It was.
You're in Ezekiel, and it was right there, and it was I like having a little bit of background at the beginning, and, you know, for folks that don't, you know, that aren't very biblically literate, you know, you laid a good groundwork there, gave the history, but it wasn't boring, it was concise, and you started there, but then, I mean, just hard charging into the message, again, you know, grace is truly amazing when we get a glimpse of the trouble in the world, and you gave us that imagery, trouble in the text, trouble in the world, and then the move, you know, hey, there's good news, bam, we were right there, and the delivery was excellent, the move to Easter was excellent, the illustration at the end was excellent, it was powerful, it really was, and it's obvious that this is not your first go-around with preaching, you handled it well. I was reminded that in order for the message to get to us, it's gotta get a hold of the preacher. This message got a hold of you,
Yeah.
and it got a hold of me, and thank you for that.
Yeah, hi. I showed up 45 minutes late feeling like dead bones. So, thanks for this. As soon as you